Now, Glock switches are already illegal, but Democratic lawmakers in California's capital want to go one step further, passing a bill along party lines that outlaws the sale of any new gun with a Glock-like design that can be converted into an automatic weapon. Do you think that this really will motivate Glock to change its design?
We certainly hope so. They have known about this design flaw for a long time. They could help save lives.
Southern California Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel says the bill aims to force Glock to change its design so that Glock switches no longer work.
Every bit of rank stupidity starts in California, then spreads across the country like a virus. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like the channel, like what I do here, you can support me with the link. Everything's appreciated. Online store is open. CGB20 will get you 20% off. Free shipping. Connecticut residents, you got to pay the sales tax. I have no say in the matter. But CGB20 gets you 20% off. Let's talk about this. And I've been holding off on this a little bit. I touched on it when it was still going through the assembly in California. And I hinted at the fact that this was going to pass. Well, it has. AB 1127, which, get down to the nuts and bolts, is a complete ban on Glock pistols in the state of California. Now, when I say a complete ban, I'm talking about the manufacturer of new ones. New guns come into the state, cannot be sold. They can still sell used guns, used Glocks, and Glocks that they have in the inventory. Why are they doing this? Because, once again, they're trying to legislate crime through the behavior of good people. They're telling good people you can't buy these firearms because criminals are modifying them and using them in what we clearly know as a nefarious manner. It just comes down to the Glock switch, a part that can be made on a 3D printer and is sold for $20 on the internet. Now, of course, there's a lot of speculation that a lot of these Glock switches were coming from China, which could be true. I'm not gonna touch on it, but that's what they're alleging. But these switches are all over the place and being used by criminals. So California, in its genius and just unbelievable flex of power, has decided to ban Glocks. So going forward, you cannot buy a brand new Glock in the state of California. Let me go ahead and give you some details.
His jersey was retired.
To some, Najee Grimes was a star football player, a coach, a mentor to special needs kids.
His schedule was actually packed. It was full.
To Deborah Grimes, he's her only son and the reason for her mission.
Had he been shot maybe once, even twice, I feel that he would have been able to survive that.
The shooter fired 11 rapid shots into a crowd. 7 hit Najee.
There was just too much damage because that Glock switch was a killing machine.
The shooter used a Glock handgun modified with one of these, a Lego-sized so-called Glock switch that can be 3D printed to turn a simple handgun with a Glock design into a fully automatic weapon. Now, Glock switches are already illegal, but Democratic lawmakers in California's capital want to go one step further, passing a bill along party lines that outlaws the sale of any new gun with a Glock-like design that can be converted into an automatic weapon. Do you think that this really will motivate Glock to change its design?
We certainly hope so. They have known about this design flaw for a long time. They could help save lives.
Southern California Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel says the bill aims to force Glock to change its design so that Glock switches no longer work. Now, the bill does not ban Glocks or even ban reselling used Glocks in California. It just bans the sale of new guns with a Glock design, which could directly impact Glock's bottom line. California is the third largest U.S. market for gun sales. Glock has added this piece to newer models intended to block the insertion of a Glock switch, but California hasn't approved this model for sale here. And realistically,
it would take a pocket knife or a file, and it would take about a minute to remove it.
why would a manufacturer not want to remodel these?
The model has stayed with the same design because of its ultra reliability.
He says California gun stores like his will keep selling used Glocks. If Glocks are outlawed in California, do you think it's going to reduce the number of incidents where Glock switches are used?
No, ma'am. Because there's still millions of Glocks on the streets. If criminals want them, they're going to get them.
Heard that and you saw that. Now, my heart goes out to this woman. But it has nothing to do with the gun. It has to do with the person on the trigger. We all know this. A person who took a legal firearm, probably got it illegally, probably stolen, and modified it to go ahead and do this mass shooting. I have as much sympathy for her son as I do for the people who lost their lives in New Orleans, who were stabbed at the Walmart in Michigan. I can go on and on. I don't see any difference. But this notion that you're going to legislate safety through the behavior of good people, while you ignore the criminal element, is absolutely a joke. Here's a thought. Why don't you apply the federal law to the ownership of an illegal machine gun, which is 20 years mandatory? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just start giving these people who use these Glock switches in this manner 20 years? You go into court, you get your day, you get your lawyer, but you're going to do 20 years. Done. Move on. I bet you they stop. But once again, we got teenagers who cannot buy guns, walk in the street with illegal firearms that they then modify to become machine guns, in the literal sense. But this, once again, is nothing to do with crime because they're not addressing the criminal element. Just like assault weapons bans, just like red flag laws, it's all about holding the boot on the necks of people who follow the law in this ridiculous notion that you're going to screw up the people who don't. Well, guess what? This is going to continue in California. The danger, of course, is that there are many firearms that kind of follow the Glock ideal in its manufacturing and in the way it's designed. Smith & Wesson M&P. You could go to the SIG 320. We can go down the road. Many striker fire guns that could be easily modified into machine guns, which means they can ban them down the line. The language is ambiguous in this bill, and Newsom has no problem signing off on anything that goes against the Constitution, especially the Second Amendment in his state. We've seen that over and over again. So, of course, the trouble is, like I said, California is ground zero for stupidity, and this will float across the country. Washington, Oregon, Illinois, Maryland, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. I can go on and on. Potentially Virginia, if Sears does not win this governor's race. This could just spread like wildfire. Now, of course, right away, the first lawsuit has been filed.
NRA is suing to block a new California law that bans the sale of pistols that can be easily converted into machine guns. Governor Newsom signed that bill yesterday. It holds gun manufacturers liable for selling models that can be turned into automatic weapons in minutes by using a device called a switch. The NRA says the law affects certain Glock models, one of the most popular handguns in the state. In its lawsuit, the group argues it's already illegal under state and federal law to convert these weapons into automatics.
It's going to the federal court, and the pain in Newsom's ass out there is Benitez, Judge Benitez, who has gone against him on every single anti-gun legislation he's put out there, every single one. So it's going to start off with it being struck down. Will we get a stay is what's more important. Will they say, okay, we're going to put this whole law on standby until the lawsuit goes through the courts? California, probably not. They'll probably allow it to stay in place and then allow the lawsuits to go through. So that's what we can expect. But let's keep an eye on this, but this is gonna spread because there are other states that wanna do this. You gotta remember Illinois was trying to sue Glock. Not criminals, but sue Glock because of the Glock switch. Not the person who sold the Glock switch, not the person who made the Glock switch, not the person who used the Glock switch, but Glock, the manufacturer of the firearm. So, expect this to spread. It's going to get stupid. It's going to get crazy. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.